Welcome back everybody to my personal investing channel. Today we have a really good video. I have some insight on the stock market itself through Yahoo Finance. I found some articles just current from today. Talking about the Dow, how much we're down, because everyone knows we're down if you're invested in the stock market. And also I really wanted to talk about this stock that I have my eye on. It's Workhorse, ticker symbol WKHS. What Workhorse is, if you don't know, they've been in the EV industry for a while doing electric vehicles, and everybody knows the competition for electric vehicles isn't there. You know, you have Tesla, we have Lucid now, which I don't have any Lucid, but those are another competitor in there. I have Workhorse because I was thinking more commercial with electric vehicles in the future. What I mean by commercial, if you're not sure, is looking at like companies buying electric vehicles to move products and, you know, contribute to society. So that sums up Workhorse. They produce electric vehicles, and you know, they have potential, I feel like, in the future, but things have been shaky recently. That's why the stock price is not where you would think it would be for an electric vehicle company. You look at Tesla, it's, you know, whatever. I haven't looked at it in a while. I don't have any Tesla personally. It's $600-700 a share, which is ridiculous. And then you got Workhorse, which is like $7 a share. They claim to be pretty big. I believe they're pretty big, and they're going to be big once they get some contracts under their belt. They had a contract lined up that could have been huge. It was like the USPS contract. They were going to make mail trucks for United States Postal Service. That fell through, and when that fell through, I mean, this stock tanked. It was at like $35 a share, and now currently it made its way down to like 7 something a share. So I'm going to switch screens. We're going to look into that. We're going to look at some charts, and then we're also going to look at Yahoo Finance to read the article on the market so we can understand why things are the way they are right now. Okay everyone, so looking at Yahoo Finance, I'm just going to start it off by reading this small article on what's current with the markets, and how if your stocks are down right now, don't panic. The dips happen, the pullbacks happen. It's healthy for a market to do that. We can't always go up. If we always went up, then there wouldn't be great opportunities to buy in at cheap prices. So the headline on this article says the Dow drops 500 points on September's final day, and it's the S&P 500 suffers the worst month since March of 2020. Which, March of 2020, obviously everything dips, but this is the worst month since then. Doesn't mean it's necessarily worst, but since March of 2020, the market's been incredibly bullish because we took that hard dip. So now we're kind of getting back to the normal levels, maybe, where stuff could have been. But other stuff has, obviously broke all-time highs. But since the March 2020, this is our worst month. So do not panic. So right here it says U.S. stocks pulled back on Thursday as Wall Street wrapped up its worst month of the year on a sour note. The Dow Jones Industrial Average dropped 546 points, or 1.59%, and then Nasdaq was down 0.4%. The weakness for the market came on the final day of what has been a rough month for equities. We have rising interest rates, so things are rising again. Inflation fears, I'm not scared of inflation, but it's bound to happen at this point. It says, like, in March of 2020, when the pandemic caused a major market sell-off, the Dow and Nasdaq suffered their worst months in 2021. So the last paragraph talks about something that I've been thinking about for a while, because if y'all are driving around, you notice recently, everyone talks about it, gas prices are way up here. Everything's more expensive right now, like everything. And it says on here that there's been concern that like higher wages, higher energy prices, higher costs for transportation is going to weigh on earnings for the remainder of the year, and into 2022. And it's definitely something to think about, because when we're getting hit with expensive prices, companies are too. We're not the only people suffering. So looking at our stocks, their earnings might not be as great as they were when stuff was cheaper, or depending on what the world's doing. So that's just really something to think about. Like right now with everything expensive, I don't know if anybody's heard about shortages of everything. We are not going to be moving as efficiently in the markets right now. So this is why I'm going to be putting out a lot of like ticker symbol videos of stocks that I find that make sense to buy right now, because we could be, you know, scooping up some really good stocks and holding until things, you know, start running efficiently for a little bit. I say a little bit because they always tend to move up and down, up and down. But when things move efficiently, our stock market's going to be at its peak and it's going to continue to rise. Not every single company, but a majority of stocks that contribute to society. So that sums up what has happened this month with the stock market, because I don't know if y'all were looking at, you know, your portfolios every day. It's not that healthy to look at your portfolio every day, but I'm guilty of it. And, you know, constantly, you know, my portfolio has just been up and down, up and down, up and down. It's almost like in a consolidation thing. But, you know, you just got to keep that mindset that, okay, like this is not permanent. You know, we have opportunity right here to buy more, which I've been doing. And I'm going to keep making more videos of stocks that I buy. So coming from that article about the Dow, that was a CNBC article, not a Yahoo Finance. My workhorse article was a Yahoo Finance article. But looking at this, they actually had bad news recently. Their CFO has left the company, which happens, you know, all the time. But you know, you could expect the stock to go down because people panic sell, or, you know, they get, you know, fears that the company might be going under, because something, you know, obviously the CFO didn't like that caused him to leave. But this explains on here that the electric vehicle maker Workhorse said on Thursday 2 of its top executives, including finance chief Steve Schrader, has left the company, and that it hired new people as a part of management to underpin its commercial goals. So I still like how they say commercial goals. You know, they still have plans and they still have commercial goals in mind, which I've been hearing a lot about Workhorse, not just, you know, in this article, that they've always been a commercial based company. And looking at like the positives with a commercial company is that, you know, you're not, when they sell a contract to like USPS, they're like contracted to supply them with, you know, a couple thousand vehicles. Unlike, you know, when you're targeting retail, it's going to be whoever buys the vehicle. It's going to be like supply and demand type thing. But when there's a contract and it's made and they sign it, it's almost guaranteed that they're going to sell these amount of vehicles. Okay, this is also something I wanted to talk about. It says right here that these changes put the spotlight on the EV maker's long-term commercial goals after losing a multi-billion-dollar 10-year contract earlier this year from the U.S. Postal Service to manufacture a new generation of postal delivery vehicles. I talked about that at the beginning of the video. Workhorse was supposed to have this huge contract that was supposed to go through. Their stock price was already pretty high from people anticipating it. And then, you know, it never went through. The U.S. Postal Service didn't like something about them and their vehicles, so it is what it is. Last week, Workhorse said it would suspend the deliveries of its flagship C1000 electric van, saying more tests and modifications were needed to ensure it complies with the regulatory standards. It also said it would recall the 41 vans it had already delivered. Okay, first of all, 41 vans, not a lot of vans. You look at like GM and major car, you know, brands, they have thousands of recalls on vehicles every single year. This is normal. It's not really something to be worried about. I'm more happy that they're self-conscious and saying that, you know, we need to test more, make a couple modifications, and then they want to ensure it complies with regulatory standards. To me, that sounds like a pretty well thought out plan for a company, you know, that's new, you know, trying to be into the EV markets, because I'm sure, you know, electric vehicle, you know, manufacturing them right now is pretty scary because everything's so new. But that's like all I'm going to read about this article right here. Is the latest news is the CFO left, and then the really latest is that their vans, they, you know, recalled them. So it's really right now it's a waiting game. There's not a lot of big news with Workhorse, but this is one to kind of stack your eggs in. Not huge. I would not go huge on Workhorse. I would, you know, stack your eggs very lightly, but just be patient, because this is a very, I feel like it's a very good opportunity, but it's like in the shadows right now. Like nobody really sees it, but there's not that many commercial electric vehicle companies coming out. Tesla is mostly retail, but with Elon Musk messing with everything right now, like rockets and all that stuff, I don't even know if he has the time to go commercial with a whole new different type of vehicle. But if he does, then that would probably be worst case scenario for workhorse. That's when if I hear news about Tesla coming out with commercial vehicles, I would probably sell off my workhorse for a loss. That would probably be one of the only scenarios I'd sell off a stock for a loss, because I can almost guarantee you Tesla's going to win over workhorse when it comes to getting commercial contracts. But on the other hand, some people like diversity, so workhorse should still be a potential competitor in the EV market. So that's basically my opinion on this stock. I'm just going to look at the chart real quick just so we can see where the price is at, and we can get like a visualization of what it's been doing for the past couple months. Move this back over here. So this is what I'm going to show you all is what happened when the contract didn't fall through. So we had workhorse was at $21.14. Okay, and this is where it peaked. It peaked at $41 a share. That was everybody anticipating that this contract was going to go through. This thing was going to moon to like $60, $70 a share. Very possible, even higher than that if that contract would have went through. So the contract didn't go through. We had a big market sell-off. It sold off and kept going down, kept going down. It hit the floor, like the absolute floor, on May 13th at 748. Okay, so that's where, me being an investor, I'd mark up my support right there. That support would be 748. All right, I know this is the bottom of the bottom. Once we break this support, we can free fall, way to really low prices. But a lot of times, even if you're short selling, you can mark up supports, and you can see the stock bounce off a certain number a couple times and be like, hey, looks pretty familiar. The past couple months, it's been a very slow and steady, decrease down to support. But we're like, this is the time. If you want to invest for the long term on Workhorse, this is probably the time to get in and start a decent position. That's just what I'm doing. I'm not a financial advisor, but this is for educational and entertainment purposes. If you see something that you like and you decide you wanted to take a risk on it, then you can do it. Just on this stock, I would minimize risk, because this is a stock that I'm not gonna say I'm 50-50 on, but this is a lot of speculation that this could move up. It's almost any stock, but it just doesn't look as great to me as some of my other positions, like TNXP, I believe a lot in cannabis industry. So SNDL. I want to get into another video, next video on Tilray, TLRY. And I want to get into another video on Tilray, TLRY. But just focusing on Workhorse, this is probably my biggest speculative stock in my portfolio. I wouldn't necessarily call it a gamble, because I feel like they could get bought out by another EV company, and that would be great. But this is just a stock that I feel, in my opinion, is I'm going to go light risk on. So my light risk would be, I cap this off at $500. However many shares that gets me, I'm happy with, just to have, and just in case this thing wants to rocket one day. There's definitely the potential for this thing to go up, but I don't think it's anytime soon. This is definitely a long-term hold. So that's going to wrap everything up on Workhorse that I have to say about it. I really hope you all enjoyed this video. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. Definitely, if you want to see more videos, turn on the notifications, because right when I post this video, it will let your phone know. You could come get some insight on Workhorse and be ready for when the market opens tomorrow, if you wanted to start a position. But that's basically it. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate all the support. Had a couple comments, and it means a lot. So thank you all, and see you next video.